everyone, it's Betsy Harvey with Betsy Harvey Inc., your personal communications headquarters for confidently communicating your personal brand story in your work and in your life. Now, if there is ever a topic that I am passionate about, it is one that I feel like I'm also an expert on. It's about removing the importance of other people's opinions. Now, I know as a human being, this is probably one of the biggest obstacles that we have in this life. I spent the majority of my teenage years, my 20s and my 30s, trying to live up to what other people's expectations were of me. In other words, I let their opinions, their feedback, and their guidance pretty much help me direct my way. Now, on the one hand, it is a spiritual problem, but on the other hand, it's just part of the human condition. We are wired to care. We are wired to think about how other people think. I mean, we're raised to have great manners. I raise my children to do that because obviously we want them to be more successful in society, but also because somewhere along the line, there is that need for approval or opinions of others become important and they start to matter. I am here to share some pretty darn good news with you today that I hope will shift your thinking just a little bit, or at least get you thinking. There's only one opinion that matters. One. Can you guess? God's. Yes. God's opinion is the only one that matters. Because when it comes to the end of your life, the only person that you're going to have to answer to is Him. So that doesn't mean run around and go do whatever you want in this life because you don't care what other people think. God's not going to like that either, because chances are if you're using that filter, you're not doing something good. What I'm talking about is when other people's opinions take you hostage. In other words, whether it's earthly things like how you look, what you buy, what kind of car you drive, where you live, where your children go to school. All of these things need to be put through the filter of, what do I need to do to best serve my family, be the best version of myself, and ultimately serve God, right? Well, it sounds really simple, but here's the thing. There's a lot of pressure that comes from the outside world, the magazines we read, the television we watch, the things that we look at. There's all this noise that comes in that says, you need to do this and you need to do that. Professionally, think about our companies. Our companies try to put us in a little box and make us into a mold that works for them, which may or may not be the best version of ourselves. So then what happens? We end up trying to walk down this path based on other people's opinions and based on their expectations for us. Then what happens? Disappointment, frustration, fatigue, anxiety, stress, weight gaining, possibly weight loss if you're not eating. In other words, there are all these physical ramifications that become a part of who we are emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So here's my thought on this. If you are living up to someone else's opinions of you or other people's expectations of you, what are you missing out on in your own life? Think about that for a second. If you're living up to somebody else's expectations and you don't really like how you're being, who's living with the outcome of that choice? You are, not them. It may make their life easier because they've been able to elicit, I guess, some form of control. But at the same time, God's called you to be unique, and God's called you to a unique path. They need you to be a certain way for them because that's what makes them more comfortable. Look, I get it all day long. We all have insecurities. We all have expectations of life. But when it really comes down to it, we are called to do what God calls us to do. Not what our bosses call us to do, not what our parents call us to do, not what our friends, our spouses, just about anybody. So my encouragement for you this week is, as you're looking at your personal brand and you're looking at your story and how to step further into your yes, I want you to take a step back and really get in touch with your spiritual life and really try to find a way to be quiet and really think about what it is that you are taking into the world. Whose opinions are you listening to? What kind of external pressures are you putting upon yourself that you need to remove? So this week, I want you to spend a little more time thinking about what would it look like if I let that person's opinion be removed from my life? What if I met them where they are and recognized it as their need, which may not be my need? So that's my advice for you this week, is to take other people's opinions out of the equation, rely on your relationship with God, be all that you're supposed to be, step into your yes, and go out there and make a big stinking difference in the world. You are awesome. So just go do it. So I'll see you over on the blog where you can have a full write-up of what I just chatted about, and I will look for you on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make it a great week. I hope you'll be well. Take care.